Okay, just gonna mention that you see this. I got this moon up here as a screensaver, and this is one of my photographs of the moon that I took myself. But you can certainly, if you don't have a telescope right now or a camera setup or whatever, you can do the same thing. And I'm gonna recommend it, and you just make your own screensaver out of it, throwing this photograph of the moon on your computer because as you're walking around your house and doing your thing or wherever, you're going to be catching it from all different angles. And like I'm telling you, different angles, that's what it's all about. Lights and shadows, lights and shadows. So you're going to start picking out the imagery more clearly as you start going at different places in your room. You might stop one place and do this to all your computers, including your cell phone. And as you're rotating it around and going and looking around, you'll see that some images will come in more clearly. If you're at one angle, you'll drop it down and other images will be more clearly. The whole thing about the rotation and turning and doing all that is another thing. Cropping. You'll be doing this by yourself with your own eyes as your day goes on. Get out of here, yo. You'll be doing exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll get a better handle and get used to the images. Rather than feeling so far away from the moon and thinking that, you can't touch it. That's not the case. It's kind of rainy out. I was going to go do something on that stone. Well, that stone is wet, and I also, I'm down, my cameras are dropping like fucking unbelievable, so I gotta make sure that I don't know, this camera I'm doing this on sucks, so I think I'm going to try to do is this. I think I'm going to try to talk a little Metellus in this. I just wanted to mention that if if you can get some moon photographs and put them on your computer, make sure they're the right ones and they're not fake photos or whatever. Okay, so I was going to bring up this, talking about the Metellus. Okay, so this handsome fella here, a little bit out of shape at the time. This is 13 years ago, right? So this is 13 years ago, and this was a place that I worked at. And I used to take basement apartments at a lot of the jobs that I worked at over the years doing maintenance. And every fucking one of these people, every one of these owners was always renting cell phone tower service and space to the cell phone companies. And I was surrounded by different conditions, especially at this one. I noticed it for sure, and I'm going to bring you back over a lifetime because what I noticed is over the last 2 years since finding out about the Metellus and coming to terms with the Metellus, and it gets more, the knowledge has gained more and more over the last 2 years, all the way down to the last few weeks, the last couple months, and uh, now I'm really seeing so much. It's fucking unbelievable, man. So some things I'm still working on, some things I've got worked out, and I kind of want to go through it all with you guys and let everyone know that what I found. I can help, but unfortunately, no one believes what I'm telling them. So no one believes it. So again, just like I'm telling you about the EMC, the things I'm trying to tell you about the Metellus, you can go see them for yourselves. You will be able to see what I'm saying about the Metellus is true, and you'll be able to safely get rid of all this. And then from where we go from there, I'm still figuring it out. What the proper heavy metal balance is, what the proper balance is on all this, I still don't know. But I know how we're being fucked over, and I know how we're being driven more and more bio. I've got that part figured out. The reason why I'm going back to this place here is because I would have looked at it as this was the start of the problem. This time frame, this 13, 14 years ago. I think this is probably 14 years. Okay, down in this basement, we had several different issues going on. It was a basement apartment. This was not the apartment. This was right outside the apartment. And then this was like an office area that I'm standing in here. But over to the left and down the hall, a little bit, maybe 20 feet down the hall, you could still feel the humming I can still feel it right now. Just thinking about it. The humming from the power from those fucking towers that needed were eating up the juice down in that basement with all the panels and shit that were needed to send power up to the roof to handle these cell phone towers. Now, when I say tower, I mean small. Why was it so small? Because the building itself becomes the fucking tower. It becomes the antenna. The building itself becomes the cell phone tower. Just because the antenna on the roof is not that large, and at the time I thought it was large, but when I look at the bigger picture now, I'm like, oh, I see. The whole fucking building is the fucking cell phone tower. That little antenna on top is maybe just to help steer things or whatever in the directions they want, but all the energy is coming up through the building. So at this time, we had a lot of residents that were getting bitten up by things, even at this place. Because I'm going to go back another 10 years and I'll show you another one. Hold on a minute. Hello? Yeah, my phone's getting fucking blown up. I was trying to be nice and put my cell phone on internet in case anybody needed help with just what I'm about to talk about now. And I think I got some people that are real people that are just embarrassed or shy or, don't want to share what they're going through and stuff like that. I get it. But then I got these other bunch of assholes who are just fucking nailing my cell phone. All my phones, for that matter. Camera phones are all done now. All right, back to what I'm talking about. So, anyways, we were getting bitten up way back then. And then when I started looking back to this time period, I started thinking back to other jobs that I had in my life. I threw a few of them by you before. Let's see if I can find it. Where was it? I was going to use... Hold on a minute. All right, so anyways, it was in Milford, Connecticut, the apartment that I was just showing you. And I was maintenance guy on site there and stuff like that. And so we started noticing that we were getting bitten up, and down in the apartment, tenants were getting bitten up at different stages. And I just wasn't putting it all together back then because the mulch was so far away from any windows or anything like that. But what there was there was huge fucking dryer vents right outside the building. So this is just a town. This is just another random building that I actually went to look up the apartments that I was working at and stuff like that, and I couldn't find them. So I don't know if he's just got very private about his rentals or what. But anyways, I'm sure I could have went to Realtor.com and found them and stuff. No big deal. Just to show you what I'm talking about. So what was happening was the vents for the dryers, which there was big ass commercial dryers down in the basement, coming through that duct must have been 8 to 12 inch fucking duct. They were big, and there was 4 of them. And they were coming out of the side. So all the tenants that were up here, that were right near there, were the ones that were getting bitten up. And we could never find anything. We didn't know what it was and stuff like that. They were accused. One of them, the one that was right below it, she did accuse it of being the dryer vents, but at the time I just didn't believe it and I didn't put it all together. Now when I look back on it, I believe that was part of it. Another thing that was happening was we had mulch dropped in around the buildings. Now, 10 years before this particular maintenance job, I went through some similar things at other properties that I worked at. And one of them, all the tenants, we were shampooing carpets, we were cleaning everything. I mentioned it before in other videos. Tried figuring it out. It took us a couple of years to really get a grasp on where they were coming from, because it seemed like every time we dropped mulch, we had this big infestation and we're shampooing everyone's carpets. We were blaming the people's animals because the cats and small dogs were allowed there. So we were blaming the animals and stuff like that, saying it was fleas, but it wasn't fleas. Then it turned out that it ended up being mites. We ended up figuring out what it was. But the problem was I never thought about why are they going in and biting on the humans and the animals? Why are these Metellus that are supposed to be interested in bark, wood chips? That's what they were supposedly interested in. That's where they were laying their eggs, all down here where the bark was and all that kind of shit. Some people were onto this and they would put rocks down, like you see here in this picture here. People put stones down instead of the mulch. Mulch brings a lot of insects and bugs and stuff that they don't want right around their house. Well, we didn't catch on to that at the time. But we also didn't catch on to is that what these Metellus were biting into. So they're already hybrid if they're biting the human. If they're going to live on the human and live on the fucking animals and bite on them and aggravate them, then that means that the ones that were coming out of the dryer vent ones, they were already hybriding. What do they have that's so interesting biting on a human? Why were all these people in these upper floors being affected by the Metellus that were coming out of the dryer vents? And there's 100 or more different Metellus just right there in the dryer vent alone. From the static electricity that the dryers were creating, would give them the energy they needed. They were able to, because they don't see the electrodes when they hybrid into an electro form. The electrodes do not have legs. That's why people don't even recognize them as insects. They don't even recognize them as bugs when they turn electro and electromagnetic nano. Nano's even harder because nano, you cannot see them, you have to feel them. You just have to feel them. And I'm going to try to help you guys out and explain to you how this is going to go down and how you can feel them. You have to be very aware of them, and when you are, you'll realize and you'll say, oh shit, because now I'm looking back on the years and I'm saying, oh man, I should have fucking known this all along, man. But you know, there's so many people, the medical industry alone goes against everything that I'm about to tell you in the next couple videos. So anyways, so there was two, you know, right away going over the years. Now I went back further in time. I was thinking about working on my aunt's ex-husband's pickle farm. He had a pickle farm. And every time I took my gloves off and picked pickles without my gloves, my hands were sweating. Then when I reached over and picked up the pickle and grabbed onto it to pick it off, I would get a tingling throughout my body. It was a tickling sensation. It was not a biting. That tickling sensation was the Metellus all talking to each other. The hundreds of different types of Metellus, possibly more, that were all throughout my body. They were all speaking to each other. They all get along fine. They get along great. Try to explain this. Hold on. Okay, I'm running out of time here. I gotta go. I gotta run. So let me try to get through some of this. All right. So what I noticed over the last 2 years is that I'm 50 right now, and over the last couple of years, what I've found is that, and the way that I realized this, and the way that I found this was doing the bio treatment that I was telling you guys about. I already gave you the recipe for it, but what I learned in doing that and applying that, it was fucking unbelievable the way this all went down. It accounted for every issue I ever had in my fucking life. It accounted for everything. I kind of wanted to wait a few more weeks, maybe a month, to do the video that I'm going to start doing right now to add to the series, because I'm waiting for a few other things to go away the rest of the way, because they are going away. But there's still some things left, and I want to be able to throw them on here with confidence, you know. Okay. I'll just start running through some of them before I have to kill this video. Dryness on my eyes, okay, on my eyebrows were always drying out and chafing throughout the years. You know, this started maybe 15, 20 years ago, the drying of the eyebrows, that I noticed, that I can remember. And I was told that it was eczema, dry skin. I was told, you know, sun stories about the sun and stop going into this tanning salon and shit like that. And I was given some, I wasn't even given anything. I was just recommended use some topicals. So I went and got some eczema cream that was from the store, pharmacy or whatever, non-prescription. And it went away. And then it would go away every time I put lotion on my eye. It would go back away again. So I just believed that's what it was. It was just some eczema on my eye. Wrong. Because now that I've done what I've gone through in the last 2 years, that was Metellus. That was a Metellus. It was everything from the biometellus, the electro, the hybrid Metellus, because I did add the hybrid Metellus to my categories as well. I don't have time to go show you right now. Okay, different times when I had things happen in my life. Okay, I'll tell you some things I've noticed just over the last 2 years. The wrinkles around my eyes are going away. The pock marks in my face that I've had over the last 15 years that I've gained are going away. They're turning less sharp and they're getting smooth and round around the the pock marks. The pock marks don't look so jig jaggedy. They're actually rounding off and smoothing out in my skin now. Okay, so all these different things that have happened. The lines in my neck, I got some fat lines on my neck because I've always had them there. I've been fat, I've been skinny, back and forth. So I've got these lines in my neck. Well, these lines were turning red over the last 10, 15 years. These lines, they're not red anymore. They're going away. I had on my back, I'm not going to flip the picture, but on my back I had what was called pimples and acne throughout my life. Not so much on my face, but my back used to get pimples. I had girlfriends over the years who thought popping pimples was fun, and I used to pop them, never thought much of it. All gone now. All gone now. Over the last 2 years of doing the biotreatment for the Metellus, which was something totally different, I never knew it was going to lead to all this. Okay. Let me start running down the body. The ears, my right ear, about 7, 8 years ago, a little bit of rash on my right ear. Never knew what the fuck it was. The right ear was a lot less, a lot more than the left ear. I never really noticed anything on the left ear. But over the years, my ears were pierced. I was told maybe I had a little small infection in my ear. Sometimes it would be a hurtful pimple-like thing or whatever. All gone now. All gone now from the Metellus treatment. Obviously, I had the ear Metellus, the eye Metellus, the different Metellus that they don't even want you to know. The gum Metellus I obviously had in my mouth and everything like that. It was all over my body, and I never knew it. So all these different things are all going away. Some build up on my lip, puffy lip. Okay, the little bumps in my eyes, which I just finally got rid of like 2 weeks ago. What I described to you, what I told you, what I did to my eyes in those earlier videos, it's all gone. The little bumps that were all above my eye, I couldn't see them, but I know the tickling is now gone, and the bumps are now gone. Never was able to capture them in a tissue. Well, they were probably there, but they're nano, so I don't see them. Okay, what else? What else? So the respiratory ones, okay. So the Metellus that takes into the respiratory system, that comes in all different kinds of ways. I don't get sick anymore. I don't, go back and look at my videos from a year ago, right? Even go back to a year ago. Because you got to remember, I was mistreating this for a good 6 months to a year for the first year. So when I said the last 2 years, it wasn't until about the time I found the EMNC. So if you go back and look at the first videos I was making and listen to them, I was always coughing and choking in them. It wasn't only because I was smoking joints and cigarettes, because I still do that. Just now, the Metellus is gone. I've gotten rid of it, most of it, because I'm going to take you down the line. I'm almost out of time now. I got to hurry the fuck up. Okay, so the ear Metellus has disappeared now. The respiratory Metellus is all gone. The eye Metellus is going away more and more. I had a cyst under my eye. I had several cysts that would keep repeating on me over the years. All gone. Tiny little dot, not even considered a cyst anymore now. The wrinkles under my eyes and around my eyes, all going away now. The blackness and the darkness and the redness around my eyes I just thought was age, all going away. Mostly gone now. I used to put cucumbers on my eyes with my daughter and do different shit that I thought was the reasoning for it. No, all wrong. All wrong. Okay, I'll jump around. What do I go for? Okay, I'm going to stay away from the crotch and the ass. I'll save that for when I have more time. But the dick, the balls, the pussy, the ass, all the crotch area and all that stuff, that's going to be a whole another fun video. Okay, over the years, wet shoes, wet boots, different stuff like that, had the reasoning for it. So that's why I bought into it and believed that it was, okay, you got a small rash on your foot, no big deal. So you dry your feet off, they seem to go away. If they stay there and you're working in, like let's say I'm putting up a swimming pool or working near some water or working out in the snow, then it just seemed, okay, normal to get a rash on my foot from being in the moisture all the time. Not anymore. It's all gone away now. So after the biometellus treatment, and the magnets even more so now that I'm doing the magnets, but I'm also changed up my recipe also since I've been going through all this. Especially, like I said, the last year the recipe changed. 6 months ago the recipe changed, and then just a month or two back when I was going through the Tripping Sponge series and talking to other people about it, I was like, oh, okay, yep, I think I'm onto that already. I just kind of blanked it out of my mind because I didn't have the time to think about it all. Okay, so these rashes on the feet, all gone. Toenail splitting in two for fucking 15 years or more. Um, I was told to take more calcium, but I had to watch out for the calcium buildup because I also got kidney stones. Throughout my life, I had kidney stones, which if I can find one, I'm going to actually try to pull the imagery from it because I have one that big that I passed that I saved. I used to pass them like nobody's business. The toenail's now fixing itself. Still got cracks in it, but it's fixing itself. The cracks are not as deep. The cracks are not separating anymore. They've folded over. They've rounded off, kind of like I'm telling you about the other shit, right? Okay, anything that happened in the leg area for rashes or anything like that, a boil on the leg, I used to get boils and stuff once in a while. Not all the time, but once in a while. All I was doing was shifting the metellus around inside the body. It was always talking to each other. You're talking about hundreds of different types of metellus that are going on at all different levels. So the ones that are deeper down in our body, we're not going to feel them as much as we will the ones that are on our skin. The outer layer of skin more so, but the underlayings of skin, the first couple layers, then yes, you can also still feel them as well. The nanometallus, you can feel them. You'll be able to feel everything that I'm telling you. You'll be able to feel it. To listen to them talking to each other, like I mentioned, picking the pickle. If you go pick a pickle and go out to the garden or whatever. You can't go to the store and do this, of course, because it's got to be a fresh garden because you're looking to have the metellus all over the plant. If the metellus is all over the plant, it's not the same metellus that's deep down in your body. So why is it that when you touch the pickle, you're feeling it at different places of your body? Because it's the electrical system. They're talking to each other using the same thing that I'm talking to you guys about, the electromagnetic nanocarbon system. Well, they're using the electromagnetic nanocarbon system to speak to each other. They don't need to use the words that I'm using right now to tell you all this. There is another language. It can be done in complete silence. It can be done just with me looking you in your eyes, and you'll know the whole fucking story. I don't have to really use these words. Well, now I do, but there was a time when we didn't have to. We work just the same way that the metellus are working. I also will point out that the EMNC, being the builders of all, are not. It's not that the EMNC I was trying to say before in an earlier video when I was trying to figure this out. I'm guessing and I'm saying, are the nanometellus traveling inside the EMNC? And it's the other way around. The EMNC are all builders of all. So yes, the EMNC are affecting our bodies also on an electrical level. You could compare it to rust. You can look at a rusty knife or some metal that's rusting. Well, the EMNC has the capability to do that same thing to our bodies. So we're dealing with an EMNC issue that's going to be separate from the metellus. The metellus seems to be working all on a bio level, and when the metellus gets down to a nano level, it still seems to be working to affect our bio body parts, not our electrical system that I can see so far. Because I was looking for answers for the mirror neuron manipulator and how it, I don't like using the word evolved, but how it became. How did the mirror neuron and the mirror neuron manipulator, how did they become? And so on. So it's just like turning on and off switches, just like turning on and off cells, as I showed you in the earlier videos. They turned off the ladybug and they turned on the metellus. They turned off the bumblebee and they turned on the metellus. They turned off the fly, the common house fly, and they turned on the metellus. They're able to turn off these certain cells all around us using light, light variations. Oh man, fucking phone's dying. Battery saver.